Shalom. First off, and to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem Kakadash. We give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and the sincere Shalom to all the Akim out here that's doing again, pushing this work in truth and in sincerity. Okay? I'm gonna go on this video. Okay? I was just meditating on this. We was at camp, and we was, how it is. You at camp, you talk about the scriptures, and, the thought had came to, my mind and my spirit, about, how Yahawashi was doing the miracles, and, he was healing people, bringing people back from the dead, okay, feeding people, and somehow, some way, people wanted to get him killed, and why wouldn't you want someone that does miracles on your side? And the magnitude that, Yahawashi, and, his men, because he gave them the power, okay? Why would you want to kill those men? But they wanted to kill Yahawashi, and he was healing people, and it's like, well, where if you was sick? End up sick. You need healing, or because he healed, people, family, just because they have faith, and that's one of the key things too, that those people who denied him, got him killed, they didn't have faith, okay? They didn't believe that he was, sent from Yahweh, okay? But we're going to, dig deep into this, this topic, okay? So I asked ChatGPT, right? Why would they want to kill the Messiah if he did miracles, right? And they said that's a powerful question, and the Gospels actually show exactly why. The short answer is miracles don't automatically produce belief; they expose hearts. Okay, and it says, let's walk through it historically and spiritually, right? It says he threatened religious authority. Yahawashi publicly corrected the religious leaders, especially groups like the Pharisees and Sadducees. He called them hypocrites, exposed their traditions, healed on the Sabbath, forgave sins, which they believed only Yahweh, the Most High, could do. It says, miracles didn't make them celebrate, they made them feel threatened. Okay, John 11 and 47 and 48, it says, after Lazarus was raised, they asked the question, what do we? For this man does many miracles. If we let him thus, all men will believe on him. And that shows you the demonic mindset that, these adversaries had, towards the Lord. Okay, because he was doing, he brought this man, back to life, man. And they weren't even thinking, like, hold on, like maybe, one of my family member, like a loved one that I had could come back to life. Like he got to be the son of the Lord if he's able to do that. Hey, maybe I could come back to life. Maybe, why would I want that power if this man can, he can beat death. It says, notice they didn't deny the miracles. They feared losing control. Right? And that shows you how demonic these people are, man, out here. Okay? It says, at the time, Judea was under Roman rules. He threatened political stability. The high priest that year was Caiaphas. He argued, it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people. Okay? That's John 11:50. It says, why? If people started proclaiming Yahawashi is king, Rome could interpret it as rebellion and crush the nation. So from their perspective, better one man die than Rome destroyed the temple and nation. Okay, it says ironically, Rome destroyed Jerusalem anyway in 70 AD. Okay, miracles expose pride. Miracles don't automatically soften hearts. In fact, it says Pharaoh saw miracles through Moses and hardened his heart. Some accuse Yahawashi of casting out demons by Satan's power. When truth confronts pride, pride fights back. And, Yahawashi, he said, if Satan cast out Satan, there's, an end to his kingdom. Okay? Satan, casting out Satan, man, how can his kingdom last? If he's casting out spirits, by Satan's power. Okay? So, he was, straight up telling them, like, yeah, my work ain't after the work of Satan. My work is after the work of Yahweh. That's the one who sent me, the one who you call your God. If he was, a Satanist, a pure Satanist, don't you think he would have said it? But he was an honest individual, healing people. Okay, what I don't know if it's safe to say, but when did Satan, because we could say Esau out here, with Satan, Esau is Satan, he got, certain things that, the Lord gave him. Okay. Esau can do certain miracles and stuff like that, but even still, the people of today, they don't even consider that the work of Satan. Esau could bring their grandmother, heal their grandmother from breast cancer, and they ready to thank Esau, the hospitals and stuff like that, So you got these leaders of these camps today telling Jake to go get they told them to go get the jump shot, but that shows you the hypocrisy of Jake, man. Okay, not that it's the Lord that protects you, heals you, and so on and so forth. So they fought back, because of pride, and they were saying these things, but let Rome had had those powers, they wouldn't have no problem. Okay. It says he didn't fit their expectation of the Messiah. Many expected a political warrior, someone to overthrow Rome, a national king immediately. Okay, like how the Book of Judges, raises up a judge, deliver the people from their captivity, so that they can be a people again, and have their nation. Okay. It says, instead, he came preaching repentance. He was eating with sinners, right? Talking about a spiritual kingdom. It says that offended expectations. Spiritual layer. According to the Gospels, there was also a spiritual dimension. He challenged the kingdom of darkness. If he truly was sent from God, then opposition wasn't just human. It was spiritual. So why kill him? Because he threatened power. He exposed hypocrisy. He disrupted the system. He didn't align with their expectations. And truth makes the proud uncomfortable. Miracles reveal who love truth and who loves control. Okay? You got to know that if we were given the powers, Esau wouldn't like that. Okay? Esau would not like, us doing miracles, healing people, because for one, You know, if we could heal people from their diseases, you know, we would get locked up. You know, a lot of people were saying Dr. Sebi, you know, was healing people, and then look what happened to him. You know, but yeah, we had the miracle to, you know, cure people from blindness. You know, Esau will probably try to, you know, capture us, run tests on us, kill us. Okay. You have other Israelite, you know, saying, you know, and I'm saying, we, of course, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, you know, people would say that, you know, we you know, we're doing it after the work of Satan. Okay. So I asked ChatGPT again, okay, the question, okay, if I'm saying, why kill someone if they're doing things like healing people and bringing people back from the dead? You should want that power on your side, right? And it says, logically, if someone is healing people, making lame people walk, raising the dead, you would think, you think the leadership would say, we need him on our team. But here's the key. Power is only useful to rulers if they can control it. If Yahawashi couldn't be controlled. Okay? And that's the same thing with today. You know, we have the power, those powers, right? Esau will try to control us. Okay? And if we were uncontrollable, okay, then we get put to death. Okay? You know, brothers was, you know, talking about, you know, Simeon Toko. Okay? It says he wouldn't align with their agenda. Right? It says the religious elite, like the Pharisees and Sadducees, didn't just want miracles. They wanted authority and stability. If he joined them, he would have had to endorse their traditions. He would have had to stop rebuking them. He would have had to operate under their approval. Instead, he exposed corruption in the temple, called leaders hypocrites, forgave sins directly, and claimed divine authority. Okay? And it says, that's not someone you put on your team. That's someone who replaces you. You know? So this man, Yahawashi, okay, has this ability to come, right, rebuke you, and you are a person that, you know, has a position, a power, a rank, or whatever you want to call it, you know. But now here you are, you come to find out that you really ain't nothing, you know, because you don't have that power to match what this man has, you know. Yeah, so all the people gonna be believing it on this man, you know. And where did that, you know, end up? Where do you end up? You know, you had influence and everything before, you know, but now people starting to look at you like you a phony, you know, you a flake, okay? And guess what? You know, you that makes you, you know, that brings out the pride, okay? And you want to, you know, start attacking that man for, you know, teaching what's, you know, what the Lord sent him to do, okay? And that's, you know, the way that a lot of these Israelite camps, you know, how they get down, you know, because, you know, they're going to start losing their followers, okay? They're going to, you know, they're going to, people, their followers are going to start seeing that these other camps are weak, man, okay? And that they don't really got the truth, okay? And, you know, when you start losing, like the Christian church, you losing your members. You know, your members start coming up and saying that they Israelites, or, you know, you got Israelites that's leaving your group because they start seeing that, you know, GMS has the truth, okay? Especially concerning the MOTP, you know. Now, you know, all those guys are demons. Those guys are wrong, man. You know, they're working like the Satan, man. Look at them, you know, they, you know, getting all these, you know, they get white boys in the camp, and, you know, all different type of, you know, lies and slander, you know, that they would, you know, they'll start, you know, painting us as the T word, you know, homegrown T word, you know, I'm talking about the ist, you know, the ist of terror, you know, that's what they would, you know, start trying to, you know, claim us to be, you know, especially when you start seeing more and more numbers, you know, start increasing as far as, you know, is our you know, Great Millstone in general, you know, more people, you know, more souls being, you know, added, okay. And I did a video on that, you know, about, you know, watching a couple of these guys, you know, that might want to try to, you know, switch or jump ship, you know. But, you know, a lot of these captains, you know, of these ships, they don't want, you got to go down with that ship, man. You know, and a lot of your ships are sinking, okay? And the Lord is the one who's sinking it. You know, we just out here teaching the truth and rebuking you people, okay? You correct, if you do the right thing, you'll be, you know, everything will be okay. But that's not how everybody is set up, okay? It says miracles shift influence. After raising Lazarus, right? It says it again. It's not just about religion. That's about control of the masses. When people start saying this is the son of David, this is the king, Rome hears rebellion. And Rome didn't play around. The governor at the time was Pontius Pilate. If he sensed uprising, he would shut it down violently. So from the leader's perspective, his power was dangerous. It threatened the whole system. Okay? You don't want power beside you if it exposes you. Here's the deeper layer. Miracles alone don't make someone safe. What if he heals people, the crowd loves him, and then he publicly calls you corrupt? Now his power works against you. They didn't want the power on their side. They wanted the power under their control. And he wasn't submitting. Okay? Pride makes people irrational. Sometimes it's not strategic. It's ego. Imagine watching someone do real miracles, speak with authority, and a crowd follows him instead of you. That triggers envy. Even the Gospel of Matthew says they handed him over for envy. Okay? There's a pattern in history. Power structures often eliminate reformers, truth tellers, people who awaken the masses. Not because they're harmful, but because they destabilize the system. Okay? We're fighting against the system. It's the matrix. Okay? Says, so your logic is solid. Right? But leaders often think like this. If I can't control it, it threatens me. If it threatens me, it must go. And that's the way that these people, you know, that's the mindset that they have, man. Okay? That's why they didn't want, you know, him on their side. Okay? Because they're, you know, they have darkened heart. Okay? They didn't want to repent. Okay? And you know, for that, you know, they're going to receive judgment. Okay? And those of us that know this truth, you know, it's a blessing, you know, because we see the Lord as He is. You know, a lot of these people, they're gonna see, you know, what it really is, man. You know, when He comes back, and that, you know, He is the power that, you know, we spoke of. Okay. So, you know, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to say shalom till next time.